welcome to the Casual Wrestling Show, where each and every week I, the Notorious Nerdy D, breaks down everything you need to know about professional wrestling. Joining me tonight is my better half, Level Up Lauren.
What's up, y'all?
This week we are talking about Royal Rumble predictions, the faces of WWE, and Drew McIntyre leaving WWE. If you'd like to support the Casual Wrestling Community Creator Fund and have a couple of dollars to toss our way, you can follow the link in the description of this video to help support the growth of this channel. If not, no big deal. Strap in. We're about to talk professional wrestling. Question number one, right out the gate, Lauren.
Okay.
This is something I found interesting after watching Monday Night Raw. I want to know who should be the current faces, male and female, on SmackDown and Raw, and who should be the current face of WWE moving forward. So I'd say that this is a pretty straightforward question when it comes to who the faces are supposed to be. I think we know who WWE wants us to believe are the faces of the company right now, but I think since Triple H has taken over, it's a little murkier. The pond isn't as clear on who actually is the driving force behind each brand of wrestling.
Yeah.
Gone are the days of the company putting the brand on the shoulders of one person like John Cena and going, here, you've got to just go carry this brand to the promised land, and you're going to have to sell the tickets and make people come. It's now a little bit more of lead by committee, but still I think that there are actual faces on each brand. And I think you could say there's multiple answers to this question.
Okay.
But there's only one set of correct answers. So you can answer it a multitude of ways, but there's only one way to do this that's correct. So let's start with Monday Night Raw, and let's start on the women's division side.
Okay.
So there's two names that you get to say without the IWC stringing you up and just leaving you to dry on the internet about your choices. And those two choices are obviously, you can say Becky Lynch and you can say Rhea Ripley.
All right.
And you're not allowed to say any names outside of that. That is it. Those are the two that are possible faces of Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
Now, Becky Lynch has carried that torch for a long time. And I don't know that you can be upset if somebody still wants to believe that Becky Lynch is the face of Monday Night Raw. But I don't know right now, as far as professional wrestling goes, I don't know if there's anybody in WWE better than Rhea Ripley.
I mean, she's pretty fucking good, man.
I don't know if there's anybody in pro wrestling, period, from a women's standpoint that is better than Rhea Ripley. That she is possibly the best superstar in the business. And as of right now, outside of maybe R-Truth in the men's division,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a more universally liked superstar in WWE than Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
When you point to everybody else, you could point to CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. They are
A love them or hate them type of thing.
equally loved and equally hated. I don't tend to run into too many people who have an issue with Rhea Ripley. And I think as far as like when you start talking about the attributes that make you a solid pro wrestler, I think she ticks all the boxes in every department. She has a very unique look. She's extremely good on a microphone.
Yes.
I think her skills have surpassed everybody on the roster, maybe not named Charlotte Flair.
That's what I was thinking.
You think that's a fair assessment, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And she's only 27 years old.
Yeah, so she's still young.
Yeah, so when you strap Monday Night Raw to her back, you're essentially saying that you could have 10 more years with Rhea Ripley, no problem being the face of Monday Night Raw. Now, there are those who will make the argument that it's hard for a heel to be the face of a company. I would point you at Roman Reigns, but in the same vein as Roman Reigns, I don't know that Rhea Ripley can, at this point, be considered a full-on heel.
When so many people like her.
So many people cheer her.
Yeah.
That she's part of a heel faction. She tends to have some heel reactions, but I don't know that I would call her 100% heel. I also think that this past Monday on Raw, they put her in the ring face to face with Nia Jax, who Nia Jax is never going to be a babyface.
No.
So if this is foreshadowing something that's coming in the future, I think 100% Rhea Ripley turns babyface going into that feud. Now, I don't know if that's a Royal Rumble thing. I don't know if they're setting that up for Elimination Chamber. I don't know if that's WrestleMania. I don't know if it's farther down the line, but it's obvious to me that Rhea Ripley is the face of Monday Night Raw, and it doesn't matter if she is babyface or if she's heel. She has the ability to sell tickets and make people come. I believe people buy tickets to come see Rhea Ripley.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm not mad.
So I think guys and girls both like
100%.
her.
I think she has that kind of ambiguous character that she appeals to all walks of life. Everybody can kind of relate to Rhea Ripley. And there's no jealousy. There's no kind of hatred. It's just this genuine.
I was going to say, like, being a girl, it's not like she's, like, overly, like, I don't want to say, like.
She's so unique.
Slutty, but, like, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
There's, like, I'm sure that there's some girls who just don't like Morgan because of, like, the way that she looks. Maybe she's a little too pretty. You know what I mean? Like, I still think Rhea Ripley's pretty, but it's because she's so different.
There's a level of jealousy that comes with certain superstars. And even from the point of view of, like, oh, my boyfriend likes that wrestler too much, right? With Rhea Ripley, she has this right mixture of, like, who she is and the comfortability in who she is that it makes her likable by all people. Mm-hmm. So like I said, I'm not mad at anybody who's stuck on the notion that Becky Lynch is the face of Monday Night Raw, but I think we have transitioned out of that time period. I think that Becky Lynch has become a little bit predictable, a little bit stale, a little bit of a one-trick pony, and she's still extremely good. When she gets in the ring, she gets the job done. She does it as good or better than almost everybody else in the industry. I think on the microphone, she tends to hit the same notes a little too often for me. Yeah, sometimes she gets a little bit excited and starts breathing, but I don't think that Becky's lost a step. I think it's just that thing where Rhea Ripley passed her by and is continuing to move forward. I think Rhea Ripley is going to be something special for the next 10 years.
Definitely.
So let's move on then to the male side of Monday Night Raw.
I had one question real quick.
Go for it.
Okay, so you said that Rhea Ripley was 27,
yes.
right? Who is in that kind of same age bracket as her? Is Liv Morgan?
Yeah, so Liv Morgan would be there. Is it just female wrestlers you're asking about?
Female wrestlers.
It's going to be a lot of those new like NXT girls that are coming up and people like that. But she is definitely of the younger generation compared to the Baileys, even Bianca Belairs, the Charlotte Flairs, all of them are, they're not old, but they're older than her. She is the generation that is upcoming.
Gargano's wife. What's her name? The fairy girl?
Yeah, I believe she's
older too,
I
right?
believe so.
Older
I believe both him and her are of old. There's two generations, right? There's I'd say 30 years old is kind of a cutoff for there's the generation that's from 30 to 40. Mm-hmm. And then there's that generation that's like Dominic Mysterio, MJF, Austin Theory, Rhea Ripley. That's that next generation. And she's definitely in that side. It's just funny. She's already accomplishing so much that you start to, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit with somebody else, but you start to just go man, it's weird that she's so far ahead of like a Dominic Mysterio or an Austin Theory because of what she accomplished in this short amount of time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So let's move to Monday Night Raw, male side. There's only 4 names. 4 names make sense in this conversation, okay? Mm-hmm. Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and I'm going to throw Gunther in on this conversation. We'll start with Gunther because I think Gunther has all of these intangibles that you need to be the face of a company. He has the records, right? Longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. He's got the momentum. He's still in the middle of a title run that I don't see where this is going to end. Mm-hmm. Assume that it may go all the way till WWE's in Germany.
Oh, true. I think that would make a lot of sense.
So there's nothing stopping him from this run that he's on right now. The only problem I would have with Gunther right now is I just don't know if Gunther has the personality to be the face of Monday Night Raw. And I also don't know if Gunther even wants to be the face of Monday Night Raw. I think Gunther is going to be, for throughout his career, this incredible number 2 on the roster. He's Scottie Pippen. He's a guy who's going to show up. He's going to perform every time he's on TV. You can count on him for a main event if you need him, but he's not selling the tickets.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure how many people are buying tickets to show up to a WWE event to see particularly Gunther. Mm-hmm. I believe they're coming to see Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
I believe you're excited, right? That his music hits and you're ready for him to come out. I just don't know if he's moving tickets in the United States enough that we could, I'll put him in the list. I just don't think that he's hit that level yet. I think he can. I think he can fine tune some things and get there. He's not there yet.
Definitely.
So let's talk about Seth Rollins. Because this is the one that by all accounts and by all means, Seth Rollins has all of the tools in the toolbox to be the ultimate WWE superstar. He should be not only the face of Raw, he should be the face of WWE.
Yeah.
There's just times when I watch Seth Rollins that I feel like he's the wrong screwdriver for the screw that the show is trying to loosen or tighten.
Okay.
It's like he's a Phillips screwdriver and you really need a flathead. He's a tool. He has all of everything you could want. It's just something isn't quite hitting all the time with Seth Rollins. And I believe he suffers a little bit from the same thing his wife, Becky Lynch, suffers from. And that is he has a tendency to get a little bit comfortable within his character and start hitting the same note over and over, starts relying on the singing of the crowd, starts relying on the kind of maniacal laugh. And sometimes I don't think that he's able to kind of create stories bigger than just the character that is Seth Rollins. And I know that's a weird thing to say because if you look at him on paper, he's the most flamboyant character in the WWE. But I think so much of that with Seth Rollins is smoke and mirrors. And it's just this, he has a little bit of Chris Jericho in him where I think he gets the itch a little too often to change characters, to kind of make tweaks and make changes. And I can relate to that. I understand as a creative person, that tends to be something that happens to you as you want to continue to evolve. But I think with Seth Rollins, he's going to have to start kind of finding a comfortability and not necessarily, sometimes it feels like with me, that Seth Rollins is always doing what the company needs. And that's great, but I don't know if that's what makes you the face of the company. It's a little bit like The Miz, right? He's almost just a guy who's always going to do what WWE needs him to do, right? He's a workhorse. He'll wrestle every night of the week if you ask him to. He won't complain. He has all the charisma in the world. He can cut a promo. Like I said, he's reinvented himself maybe too many times. But it's almost what I think, if you look at Batman, right? What makes a good guy in Batman? It's clear-cut qualities of a superhero, right? It's good versus evil. The Batman is the good guy. The Joker is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins suffers from what I call Riddler disease.
What's Riddler disease?
The Riddler is a guy who he's ambiguous. We don't know, is he a baby face? Is he a heel? He straddles the line.
The Riddler wasn't a bad guy?
Not always. The Riddler sometimes helped Batman out. There's this in different variations of the Riddler takes on kind of different forms and never clearly chooses a side, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like, to me, that's where Seth Rollins wants to live. And creatively, once again, I understand because it gives you so many options when running your character. But if you look at like John Cena, the thing that made John Cena who John Cena was this steadfast belief that I'm always going to be a babyface. I'm never going to give in to what the crowd wants, and I'm never going to turn heel. And so that's the thing with Seth Rollins, I think, holds him back a little bit. Because if you want to talk, like, if you want me to go toe-to-toe with the IWC, I'll right now say pound for pound, Seth Rollins is the best professional wrestler in any professional wrestling company. He is better than Kenny Omega. He's better than Will Ospreay. He's better than CM Punk. When it comes pound to pound, microphone in the ring, a little bit of everything, CM Punk is the best wrestler in the world. But like CM Punk, I think Seth Rollins is always going to suffer from being the bridesmaid. He's never going to be the chosen one.
True.
And it might just be circumstance. It might just be timing, right? It might just having to be in WWE at the same time as Roman Reigns. Having to be in WWE at the same time as other people coming up.
True.
So then let's move forward. Third name on that list is CM Punk.
Yes, sir.
And by definition of what I believe is a face of the company, I believe the face of the company is a guy who sells the tickets. It's who people come to see. CM Punk's that guy. That's literally the definition of who CM Punk is. He sells merchandise through the roof.
That's crazy.
He sells tickets. People are literally lining up to see CM Punk. He moves the television numbers, right? Crowds react to him every time he comes to the ring. He stood in that ring face to face with Seth Rollins. The crowd cheered for CM Punk. He stood in that ring with Drew McIntyre. Even when Drew McIntyre was taking very low, kind of dark shots at CM Punk that I thought were justified, they still cheered for CM Punk. The IWC told me time in and time again the last couple months that if CM Punk goes to WWE, the fans are tired of him. I told them, I repeated over and over, you guys just don't understand the casual audience. Sure, the IWC, who read every article and dig in every nook and cranny for every little fact, sure, they were tired of CM Punk, but the casual audience was completely ready to embrace him. It's the same problem they had with Cody Rhodes. These AEW guys, fans think that when these guys wear their welcome out in AEW, that's going to carry over to WWE, and that's just not true. The IWC fails to understand that they make up a very small portion of the internet wrestling audience. So when they get loud, they start to believe their own bullshit, and they don't understand that casual fans are just more forgiving.
Yeah, if you like somebody, you like them, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, so the only issue with CM Punk, and the only issue with calling him the face of WWE is, number one, we've yet to see him wrestle in WWE. We saw him wrestle in AEW, and it's rough. It's not beautiful. It's not the same old CM Punk. He gets by on what I'd call wrestling logic, right? He knows how to tell the story. He knows how to make it look believable, but it's not that crisp, clean CM Punk best in the world we had 10 years ago. And that's to be expected. That's what happens, right? He's no longer a technical beast in the ring. I think that CM Punk's going to find himself in the same spot he found himself 10 years ago. He's going to be someone that the fans clamor for, that I will get behind, I will be excited for, but he's just never going to be able to step over, nor do I think he wants to anymore, but he's never going to be able to ascend to the top of that mountain. And be the guy who main events night 2 of WrestleMania. That's just not who it is. And I think that he's much more equipped for that role now. I think that he's grown into understanding that this is about helping other people out. And that by him finding some success, he then can put other people over. I also just think that whether he's right or wrong, whether you believe what he says about AEW or you believe, Tony Khan and those guys, I think he's just a little too tarnished to ever be the face of WWE, if that makes sense.
No, what do you mean?
Just there's a little bit of a stank, right? He sued WWE at one point. Then he went over to AEW and he took a couple shots at WWE. Then he got in all the backstage altercations. Then Tony Khan said that he was never been more scared of his life of a person.
Pussy.
Yeah. So, but I think whether that shit's right or wrong, whether that shit's real or not, I don't believe half of it. But whether it is or not, the problem is there's a public stigma that follows you, and I think that's just tarnished him enough that nor does WWE need to make him the babyface. Is something else I'll say. But I just don't think that he could ever, if that was something he wanted to achieve, get back there. So there's one more name then.
All right.
It's Cody Rhodes.
Yes, sir.
And he's the only one who, like Rhea Ripley, I think ticks every box that WWE's looking for when they want to put someone front and center for fans to get behind, to sell the tickets. I'm not the biggest Cody Rhodes fan in the industry, but we have to be honest as wrestling fans. There's quite literally nobody like Cody Rhodes in the industry.
I like him.
He has every intangible that you need to be the face of a company. He's got a legacy, no pun intended. He can work the mic with the best of them. He's a top 3 worker in the ring. He can wrestle every night just like Seth Rollins. He will set himself on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? He will go through
Purple
tables.
nurbles.
He will show up on SmackDown, Raw, NXT, wherever he's needed. Cody Rhodes showing up to make sure he's team WWE. And he won't say anything bad about AEW. He's built this finish the story gimmick. And it's just a feel-good story, right? There are some people, I hear people who get tired and roll their eyes at Cody Rhodes, but more often than not, most people are okay with the idea that Cody's the guy to beat Roman. Mm-hmm. Most people are okay with that story. And it appears that he's literally liked by almost everybody in the wrestling industry, right?
That's cool.
AEW guys like him. WWE guys like him. NXT guys like him. And look, I don't know if you saw at a house show, somebody held up a sign that said, "Will you be the best man at my wedding?" And he said yes.
Did he really?
And he asked when the wedding is. They went back, interviewed him in the back. He goes, "I guess I'm going to this guy's wedding."
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I mean, it'd
be cool to follow up to see if he actually goes.
He did. I'm sure he did. I know that at one time, Suplex, the content creator, he had a conversation and Cody Rhodes promised him tickets to an event, and he followed up and made sure that it happened and met them backstage. And Cody is that guy. He bleeds wrestling. He's a PR wet dream. Yeah. He wears red, white, and blue.
I think that you can't really hate him because he just seems so nice.
But isn't that funny? From when he was in AEW, they literally were just tearing him apart. You need to turn heel. You're a piece of shit. Nobody likes you, Cody. Right? They were all over him. They couldn't fucking stand him. They couldn't appreciate what they had in Cody Rhodes. And they, once again, just like they said with CM Punk, WWE fans won't embrace him. WWE fans will have they'll get tired of him. Not yet. I think genuinely, like I said, he's one of the most likable people in WWE.
Is it in a sense that if they treat them like shit, then we're like, well, fuck you, we'll take them back?
No, I don't. So I don't think so. What it is with AEW, it's this little clique world. It's the IWC. They want things that aren't cool. It's hipster, right? And Cody's too cool. Cody's too mainstream. Cody's too WWE. No matter how much Cody left WWE and did the independent thing, Cody still had that WWE pedigree and DNA ingrained in who he is. Yeah. And they can't fall in love with that. Same thing with CM Punk coming back. And CM Punk said all the right things at the beginning. We're an indie rock band, right? We're playing at bowling alleys.
Yeah.
But then what happened is shit kind of went weary in the back, and CM Punk starts suggesting well, maybe we kind of do this WWE way, right? Maybe we don't use real glass. Maybe we don't do this spot in this way. Maybe we there's got to be a chain of command. And I think what happens is the IWC starts going, oh, he's a snake. He's a WWE guy who's hidden in the grass, and he doesn't like our indie style and shit. And I think that these guys, they go, oh, fuck, and they leave. And they don't, because they don't appreciate who they are. You look right now. Look at AEW. Mm-hmm. 3 people who have jumped ship from AEW to WWE are Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, and Jade Cargill.
Yep.
Those are the 3 most marketable people in probably all of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, those are it's insane. If I was to look at the entirety of the AEW roster from its inception to today, and I'm taking 5 people, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jade Cargill are 1, 2, 3. Those are the people you build a company around.
Would be 4 and 5. I've got to.
If I'm building a company and chemistry matters, I think you still go Edge.
Okay.
Even though Edge has just become another guy, I'd probably go Edge and Christian.
Really?
If I'm starting a company, I go CM Punk 1, Cody Rhodes 2, Jade Cargill, maybe Edge and Britt Baker.
See, I would have gone Britt
Edge
Baker
and
and
Britt
MJF.
MJF. You're right.
Those have been
You're
my
right.
two.
I don't know how I left that off the list.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
I go CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, MJF, Jade Cargill. Who else did I say? Britt Baker.
Yeah.
I think that's the 5 I'd go.
Yeah.
But look, Cody Rhodes, he's got 3 key wins over Seth Rollins last year, which I think makes him better. He's got the purple titty moment.
I mean, that thing was an amazing
But this is what I'm talking about. You're talking about who do you want to be the face of your company? The guy who literally tears his pectoral muscle and goes, I can give him one more.
I'd say in my whole wrestling career,
Watching career?
Yeah, my wrestling watching career. That's probably one of my most memorable moments.
But that's what your face has to be that person, right?
That I literally was like, oh my God.
The baby face of a company has to be the person that leaves lasting impressions and moments. And while I do think Seth Rollins has some of those, I don't know that Seth Rollins has as many as Cody Rhodes in the short amount of time that Cody Rhodes has been back in WWE. So I'm not going to say it's by a landslide. I don't think that just overwhelmingly Cody Rhodes is the face of Monday Night Raw. In fact, if you pushed me enough, I'd say Monday Night Raw is kind of run by committee right now. You got 4 big names at the top, but Cody Rhodes is the head of the committee. So let's jump to SmackDown. Okay, I think it's a lot more clear on SmackDown. It's not going to take as much conversation. There's a definite hierarchy on Friday Night SmackDown. Roman Reigns is on top. Roman Reigns is the face of the men's division on SmackDown. Love it, hate it. He shows up, he doesn't show up. He's still the guy who runs the place. When he shows back up, you get those goosebumps, you get the tingles, you get excited. Doesn't matter what you think. When the Royal Rumble comes and his music hits, we're going to fucking lose our shit. Everybody's going to be excited, right? Mm-hmm. And then sitting right under Roman Reigns, you've got LA Knight and Randy Orton. Both high caliber superstars, but they're not the face of the brand. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you got Styles, Owens, Lashley. But Roman's the guy. Roman's the guy. You really can't.
I don't think there's a question about it.
I guess the only argument I would accept in this is that the Bloodline is the face of SmackDown. If you want to lump them together as a collective, but we've seen what SmackDown looks like when Roman's not there, and it's not the same when it's Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso and Paul Heyman. It's definitely Roman is that guy. Yeah. Right? LA Knight and Randy Orton, both capable. I think they could be the face of SmackDown if they needed to be, but I think that Roman Reigns' shadow, he just cast a large shadow that these guys can't get in front of. Yeah. Any other wrestling company, take TNA, take AEW, take NWA, you put LA Knight or Randy Orton in their current state in any one of those companies, they are the top selling merch seller, top TV product mover, everything, right? Just not in SmackDown. And not as long as Roman is on the show. And the interesting thing to me, Lauren, is what happens with that vacuum once inevitably Roman Reigns leaves. Because I think we're coming up on that point. The IWC thinks it's sooner rather than later. I think that we're on the back half of Roman's career, but I don't think it's going to be in WrestleMania, Roman just disappears. But who steps up and fills the role when Roman leaves? Who's next up? Yeah. Is it Solo Sikoa? Is it LA Knight? Is it Randy Orton? You want me to hit you with a fun little fact? And you said something earlier that I had this written down, but this was interesting. You asked about Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, right? And I think I find it interesting. They're about the same age, but they definitely don't feel like the same points of their career.
No. I mean, look at Liv's championship versus,
Yeah,
Rhea's.
So let me take one even farther. Randy Orton feels old as fuck, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really, because he's been around forever.
Almost 50, right?
He's 43 years old.
Okay.
I'd say that Randy Orton's had 3 Hall of Fame careers. If you just look at the entirety of his career. Mm-hmm. LA Knight just won Breakout Star of the Year, and he's 41 years old.
That's crazy.
He's 2 years younger than Randy Orton, and he's just now entering that main event picture. It's weird to think about how different Randy Orton and LA Knight's careers are.
He probably wore Timberlands 20 years ago when they were cool.
You think
and brought
so?
them back, yeah.
All right, so let's do the women's division.
Okay.
This one, pretty simple, kind of like Monday Night Raw. There's two names that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
You could go Charlotte Flair, and you could go Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
And you know I'm not going to go against Bianca Belair in this conversation. It doesn't matter if Charlotte wins 21 world titles. I think that the same argument I make for Rhea Ripley is the same one I'll make for Bianca Belair. I think Bianca Belair is the future of SmackDown. I think Charlotte Flair's injured. This is the second or third injury she's had in the last 4 or 5 years.
Well, she's getting older.
Yeah, I mean, and these injuries are significant.
She does a lot of like the gymnastic moves and stuff
high
like
risk,
that, which is,
high risk. She's very high risk in the ring, and so it's because of that. I think that if you're looking at longevity in career, there's no question. I think if you're looking right now, Bianca Belair, people hate when I say this, but Bianca Belair is the closest thing we have to a John Cena in the WWE right now. She is the role model to every little girl. She can sell t-shirts. Everybody likes her. Mm-hmm. You get weird people who complain that she smiles too much, but that was the same argument about John Cena was too positive all the time.
But if she also had resting bitch face, they would complain about
exactly.
That. So
She's about to have her Hulu show starts in like 2 or 3 weeks.
I want to see that.
So, but that's my like she's clearly like in a well-established relationship with Montez Ford, who seems to be another high-quality person. So it's just like, I think once again, you talk about PR and like media. I think when you point at her, she has all the intent. She ticks all the boxes. And I still think she's getting better is what's interesting about Bianca Belair. That's why I think right now at WrestleMania 40, the best match to make would be Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. I think right now you've got both of these two superstars that are on a crash course to the top. And I think it would be fun to start that rivalry. You've had the Becky Charlotte. You've had the Trish and Lita. I think it's time to establish the first like major chapter in Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. Now, I will concede on the Bianca Belair case that Rhea Ripley is the overall face of the women's division in WWE.
Yes.
I won't try to argue against that. I think Rhea Ripley is the most dominant female superstar. Where this conversation could get a little dicey is on the men's side. I think Cody Rhodes is the face of WWE.
Okay.
I know Roman is the guy. I know Roman has held the title 4 million days and he's going to pass Hulk Hogan and he's got all these accolades. But my problem is, by my definition of what the face is, it's the guy who sells the tickets. And Cody's there every week. And Cody's moving more individual tickets. When Roman shows up, sure, place blows up, place sells out. It's the Roman show. He's just not there enough for me to call him the face.
True.
He's the most important guy in WWE. He's the most important man, but I don't think he's the face because he's just not there enough for me to call him the face of WWE. So if I have to pick, the face of WWE is Cody Rhodes.
I'd be okay with agreeing with that.
All right, Lauren, question number 2 this week. This is a question that I've seen a lot of speculation on the internet. The IWC seems to kind of run rampant with this, but the question that's being asked to everybody is, Lauren, is Drew McIntyre done with WWE? Is there anything left for him to do? Because I remember when Drew McIntyre was untouchable 3 or 4 years ago, it felt like he was one of the most protected superstars in WWE. Now, I can't remember with the last 365 days, the last big feud that Drew McIntyre came into and came out looking like the top guy, looking like he was trending upward. He's been in a couple different situations where he's won, but nothing's felt like monumental enough to kind of propel him to the top and like he was going to be in a legitimate position to actually lead the company moving forwards. At War Games, he was kind of set up with Judgment Day to look like, oh, he's going to be a big factor as a heel. And it just never really turned anything. It was kind of overshadowed by Randy Orton and CM Punk. Then he lost twice to Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. He was never able to get that done. And he lost pretty clean in both of those matches. If you think back, he had a weird story with Karrion Kross That was a 50-50 split. Karrion Kross won one, Drew won the other.
I forgot about that. Was that the one with the leather belts, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And see, that's my point. It didn't really propel either guy forward. He lost to Gunther at SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. He lost to Gunther at WrestleMania. And then if you go back to about a year ago, he lost to Roman Reigns at Clash at the Castle.
That's what it was. That was the one that stuck out of my mind most prominently, and I was almost like, is that where it started? Like his losing streak?
It does feel like that, and it was at that moment in time that they started hearing the whispers of like, he hasn't resigned a contract. You know, he's not happy. Drew's not happy. Now he's denied that along the way, but a lot of people have said that he hasn't resigned a contract, and it does feel like that Clash at the Castle was kind of that moment. It was kind of that put up or shut up moment where they were in as close to his hometown as you could be. That crowd wanted Drew McIntyre to win, and it was just that moment where they had to decide, are we continuing the Roman Reigns story, or are we going to transition over to Drew McIntyre? And they obviously chose Roman Reigns in that moment, and they didn't put a title on Drew McIntyre. The big issue I have, Lauren,
yes, sir,
is I don't know that Drew McIntyre has this plethora of options to fall back on outside of WWE. So we look back and we have a case study that we can look at now with Edge. Yes. Edge is a guy who was a big time WWE superstar. He was a big draw, right?
Yeah.
Anytime they put Edge's name on the marquee, people showed up. Then Edge did this thing, I still want to wrestle, and he made the jump to AEW, and he's literally just become another guy. You don't hear about him.
Yeah, does he even wrestle?
He does, and he's doing well. But this is what AEW does to guys. You get over there and you immediately become irrelevant to anybody outside of the IWC bubble. The IWC will tell you it's the greatest thing in the world, but the casual fans aren't going to follow you. And I think Tony Khan thought, I thought the IWC thought, I think even Edge thought, oh, my fans will follow me to AEW, and it just doesn't work that way. So when you look at Drew McIntyre, I just can't imagine him making the jump to AEW or TNA. I just don't think that the fans will follow Drew McIntyre. I also don't think that I think he's too big. And that's a weird thing to say, but I think he's too big to go to AEW. They don't have enough guys to put in the ring with him.
Is he going to fight Luchasaurus every week?
And he's bigger than Luchasaurus. Yeah. He makes Luchasaurus look not like small, but like Luchasaurus is 6'3", 6'4". Drew McIntyre is 6'6".
That's fucking crazy.
And Drew McIntyre he's as talented as anybody in professional wrestling. I think he just lacks a little bit of personality, which I think is a lot of that is due to the booking, right? They always book him. I would agree,
because I think he has personality.
Yeah, I think he's booked into bad positions. I think that's a better explanation. But I don't think that Tony Khan would put him in these extremely favorable situations. So the IWC's written his ticket, right? If you look at Twitter right now, Drew McIntyre's done. He's done. After WrestleMania, he's leaving. That's what they say. Here's the problem. I'm going to now explain to you why the IWC is wrong. And I'm going to explain to you what I would do if I was Triple H and what I think Triple H is doing that nobody has sniffed out yet, right? So this week, Jinder Mahal returned again. And he challenged Seth Rollins to a title match on Monday Night Raw next week. Okay? Here's what's about to happen. Jinder Mahal is going to beat the shit out of Seth Rollins. Now, that may be through cheating. That may be through... He's not going to win, but he's going to beat down Seth Rollins. And I think that next week on Monday Night Raw, Damian Priest is going to come out and cash in on Seth Rollins and win the title.
Okay.
I think they're taking the title off of Seth Rollins this week, Monday Night Raw. Why? It puts Seth Rollins in the Royal Rumble. Right now, there's no World Heavyweight Championship match scheduled for the Royal Rumble. I don't think you don't want Seth Rollins on that show. I think effectively, Seth Rollins does not need the title to be important. I think you put Seth Rollins in the Royal Rumble, and who does he get into an altercation with in the Royal Rumble?
Drew McIntyre?
CM Punk. You get to start the story with Seth Rollins and CM Punk. One of them eliminates the other, and it begins that feud moving forward. So what that does effectively it takes CM Punk out of the Royal Rumble winning position, which is what a lot of people, if you look at all the odds on websites, CM Punk is the favorite to win the Royal Rumble. He's not winning the Royal Rumble. It's just, they're not going to put that on his shoulders this soon.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's not happening. They're going to do Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. I just believe it's not going to have a title. What is that? So you clear CM Punk out, right? You clear Seth Rollins out of the way. This leaves an open road for them to have Cody Rhodes win the Royal Rumble for a second year in a row.
Okay.
Setting up a major match at WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns 2. They laid the seeds on Monday Night Raw. They've started saying things like Cody could be the first person in 10 years to win 2 Royal Rumbles in a row.
And they're all about fucking records. So.
Once they start laying those seeds, I believe that's what they're clearing this path out. So what does that do? That gives you Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania. It gives you Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, no title needed at WrestleMania. And what does it do? It gives you Damian Priest as your world heavyweight champion. Oh, and who has Damian had problems with the last couple of weeks? Now say the name.
Drew McIntyre.
There it is. He's had problems with Drew McIntyre. So that sets up Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Another big time match that does need a title. But here's the thing. If we get Drew and Damian, there's going to be 1 month lead into that. And I think that is where Damian Priest is forced to defend his title in an elimination chamber. Okay? You have Drew, Damian, insert 4 other random superstars into that match, and that match ends with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre as the last 2 in that ring. Insert some Judgment Day shenanigans that cost Drew McIntyre the match. Drew McIntyre goes nuts. Essentially, this turns Drew McIntyre back into a babyface.
All right.
Which is where he's most comfortable. They tried this heel thing out with Drew. They tried this in-between thing out with Drew. I don't think it worked. We want to cheer for Drew McIntyre. Going against Damian Priest puts him back in the position to be the babyface. And at that point, we get to see how much Triple H values Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Because now you go into WrestleMania with a Damian Priest who's only held the belt about 30 days. And we get to see, does Drew McIntyre win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, seemingly giving him that title run and that moment that WWE fans kind of feel like Drew McIntyre deserves. He took us through the pandemic. He was the pandemic champion. When there were no fans in the stands, he continued to show up and hold the title. And I think this would be Triple H's opportunity to reward Drew McIntyre. And you could go back and forth with Drew and Damian all the way through SummerSlam. But it would be interesting to see if they give the belt to Drew McIntyre, they're rewarding him for all this hard work. If they use Drew McIntyre as a stepping stone for Damian Priest to step on, I think it's obvious that Drew McIntyre is probably done with the WWE.
Yeah.
All right, Lauren, question number 3 for the night. This is a question that I follow AEW through the news. I read about it on news sites, and I'm up to date enough to just have kind of a finger on the pulse of what's going on.
Okay.
But the question that I wanted to answer was, what would it take to get me to start watching AEW regularly again?
Okay.
And I don't think this is going to piss the IWC off, this topic, because I can tell you I'm going to say things once again that they don't want to look in the mirror and see. AEW is not a horrible product. Mm-hmm. It's just such a niche product for this bubble of wrestling fans who are so pretentious, and they feel the need to overhype every little thing that is just not on the magnitude that they want it to be. They want to overhype the flips. They want to overhype the bad promos. They want to overhype all of the negative. They want to take all of the people who couldn't cut it in WWE and tell us why they're going to be so successful when they get to AEW. I've tried, Lauren, on numerous occasions to watch AEW consistently. There's been 2 or 3 times where I've tried to pick back up and just go, all right, I need to watch this. If I'm going to talk about it, I need to watch it consistently. But it's just too hard to follow. Like, as a casual wrestling fan, as somebody who's not going to go back and research 20 years of New Japan Pro Wrestling, someone who's not going to read Tony Khan's Twitter all the time, the show just feels too hard to follow. The show.
Is that what they expect, is for us to follow Twitter?
I think it's an element of it, right? Because I almost feel like you have to see where Tony Khan's excitement is coming from to understand what the event is being put on in front of you. And even when I do watch, it tends to feel like this out of order mess, right? And maybe it's because I see MJF as the face of AEW, but he comes on in the fucking second 30 minutes of the show, and I'm like, well, why is he not the main event? Why is he not the last thing I see? And then the last thing I see is 2 guys that I have no fucking clue who they are or why I'm supposed to care about them. So for one, they're gonna have to fix, and I know this is the argument, well, everything doesn't have to be the WWE way. You're right, it doesn't have to be the WWE way. But when you look at who's selling tickets globally,
true,
maybe you want to do things a little bit the WWE way.
Yeah.
If that's your goal, if your end goal is to be as big as WWE, that's what you do. If their goal is to be a niche product, they're doing it well, but I just don't think that's what they try to present themselves. The second problem is every time I turn on AEW, somebody's bleeding.
Yeah.
For no fucking reason. No particular reason. Somebody's getting cut with a pizza cutter. Somebody got hit with a light tube. Somebody's bleeding. A girl's bleeding. A boy's bleeding. They got to clean the mats. Then someone bleeds the next match. Like, it just feels like an overused element of wrestling that is supposed to be for dramatic effect. I have a hard time turning on the TV and watching a show where a guy cuts another guy, then lays underneath him and drinks the blood.
That was so disgusting.
But you're gonna have a hard time convincing me that's something I need to watch on a weekly basis, when at any moment that's some shit that could happen.
What do you tell your kid when they say that? It is not okay to drink.
Yeah,
blood.
like that's not okay. and maybe you shouldn't let your kids watch AEW. Maybe that's the formula. But whatever. And the third problem I have is that there's a Mean Girls Club.
Yeah.
And you can pretend like that doesn't exist, but it obviously exists. Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, these people are in positions of power within a company that they actively are entertainers for. There's no way you can explain to me how that works. Mm-hmm. How any of these people who are obviously not selfless people, it's obvious they're not selfless people. How are they ever going to put other people before them? Especially people that they don't particularly like.
Yeah.
So you have a company that's run by a Mean Girls Club. You have a company where people drink each other's blood. You have a company where the shows are completely out of order. And excuse me if this is offensive, but you have an autistic owner who fucking screams too much when he comes out, and he makes way too many announcements that aren't worth announcing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like that is the problem with AEW. I'm not particularly fond of a roster of wrestlers who the IWC swear are the best in the world, but I can't get behind. I can't get behind Jon Moxley. I don't think he's that fucking great. I think Eddie Kingston fucking sucks.
I do too.
Like, they keep telling me he's this tough guy, but everything I read about Eddie Kingston is him fucking crying about somebody being mean to him.
He looks like he should be a car salesman.
He does look like a New York car salesman.
So, like, we were talking about the Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and all of them. They remind me of, like, those older people that are like, I'm still trying to be cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I the long hair. I almost feel like they're stuck in, like, the 80s. I don't know if they're born in the 80s or what.
Well, I mean, Jericho, no lie, is still good at what he does.
Yeah.
But he's not as good as he believes he is the problem. And I think that is the delusion of what Chris Jericho is, and that maybe what makes him as good as he is. But the problem is nobody in that company is as good as the IWC wants to make them seem or as they think they seem. But here's the thing. The question is, what would make me watch AEW again? First answer. You got to raise the height limit to ride the ride. They've got to be bigger. Like, I cannot watch a show where I feel like in the physical form I'm in right now, which is completely out of shape, I could still get in the ring and whoop 75% of the AEW roster's ass. No problem. Darby Allin, fucking whooping his ass.
Oh,
Jungle
God.
Boy, I'm whooping his ass. John Silver, it looks like he's a spark plug, but I still think I could whoop his ass. He's little. Adam Cole, I'm whooping his ass. 5'5", 5'6", they're not fucking with me. Sorry. You gotta raise the height to ride the ride.
Britt Baker does
They've
that
got to
too.
find bigger wrestlers. They have to. That you can't. Jungle Boy can't be the biggest guy on your show. And when you're bringing out the Big Show and he's leaning to the left, it just doesn't work. Like, they have to find bigger wrestlers. They have to go and search out. Stop going to churches and indie gyms and finding these 5'6" guys who more importantly should be in the fucking circus than being in a wrestling ring, and go find some real college football players and college athletes and intertwine them into your company so you can have some grown-ass men wrestling. Because I just can't get behind a dude who wears fucking jean shorts with leggings underneath and paints his fucking face. Like, that's cool. He's a great element of the fucking show, but hey, I got something. 3 or 4 fucking years ago, everybody told me Darby Allin was going to be a world champion. What the fuck happened there, guys? What happened there, IWC? It's 4 years after I first said that, and they all argued with me, and he's no fucking closer to being a world champion.
That's true. That's crazy to think it's been that long.
Let's go number 2.
Okay.
The shows have to have a better pace. It's all over the place. Like, when I'm watching AEW, it is MJF needs to end the show every week. He's not champion anymore, so I don't know what the fuck you do now. But when MJF was champion, he should have ended the show every week. That's how wrestling's supposed to be. Wrestling is a crescendo. It is supposed to ramp up. Your champion should be on last. That is how your biggest match should be on last. Don't give me 2 Japanese wrestlers to end the show.
You don't
I get that the IWC gets a fucking hard on for that shit, but that's not for me. If you want casual fans to watch, your show has to end with 2 guys that we can pronounce the fucking name. That's it. All right. Number 3.
All right.
Overexpansion. They got to reel it in a little bit. I can't watch one night of AEW wrestling. You think I'm going to watch 3 fucking nights of AEW wrestling?
3 nights?
You think I'm going to watch fucking Wednesdays, Dynamite, which is the only show that I guess is tolerable? Then you have Friday Night Rampage, which is just complete bullshit. And you have Saturday Night Collision, which was supposed to be CM Punk's show. Oh, but you ran him out of fucking town. Like, you spread out this shit through the week. You can't thin out something that's already thinned out. And that's what they're doing. They've got to shut down, fold up Collision, fold up Rampage, take the best of the best and put them on Dynamite and start rebuilding from there. Let's not throw in the fact that they cross over with Ring of Honor because Tony Khan went and bought that toy set. And so now you have 4 fucking brands of wrestling, essentially, or 4 shows, 4 hours. I don't fucking know when Ring of Honor comes on, but you have all of these different shows of wrestling, and I don't think one of them's worth the shit. So I think my biggest issue, let's go the biggest, the only one that really fucking matters is Tony Khan.
Yeah.
He just needs to shut the fuck up. Like, I think Tony Khan and the IWC, that's the biggest turnoffs when it comes to watching AEW. When I first got back into wrestling about 4 years ago, I was holding the AEW pom-poms.
We were excited.
I was talking about, and then I heard Tony Khan talk. And then I heard the IWC start telling me how I wasn't allowed to be a fan because I didn't like it for the right reasons.
What reasons were you supposed to like it?
Oh, you're supposed to like the technical flips, and you're supposed to fall in love with Kenny Omega. And if you don't worship the church of Kenny Omega, then you shouldn't be a fan. They didn't like it because I liked Luchasaurus. They didn't like it because I thought Orange Cassidy was really fun to watch.
Too.
They didn't like it because I made fun of Darby Allin. I said all the things that they didn't want to hear, which in a normal situation, that breeds conversation, which breeds competition, which it's fun to go back and forth, but they just immediately get angry. And when they get angry, it's no fun to go back and forth with them. I can argue with WWE fans all day because it's pleasant. It's a back and forth. It's a, you don't like this person, I don't like this person, here's why, understood, we can move on, right? We go on, we do something with our life. The problem with the IWC is they live and breathe the shit. They're in their mom's basement just pounding away, fucking tweeting at Paige, trying to get a fucking date with Saraya or Britt Baker, fucking, I don't know. just jacking off the fucking Will Ospreay matches in Japan, where he's dropping motherfuckers on their head, almost breaking their neck. They're getting off to people drinking each other's blood. Like, that's why I can't watch AEW, right? I can't get behind an owner who just like bitches and complains and cries and gets on Twitter. And I don't know if you know, Tony Khan called out Jinder Mahal this week.
No, why?
Because, so this is how fucked up it is. The USA Network got on Twitter and took a shot at Tony Khan. They made fun of like the cage match rating system and made fun of an AEW rating of a match. And Tony Khan got pissed off and went after Jinder Mahal and was like, well, how does it make sense that someone who hasn't won a match in 365 days is getting a title shot? Because it's scripted, you stupid fuck.
Yeah.
Because records don't matter. This is professional wrestling. Like, it's never mattered. And if you want it to matter, then you actually have to make it matter in your company as well, which it doesn't. But how about instead of complaining about what WWE is doing, about what USA is tweeting about, how about you fix your women's division, which is in utter fucking disarray? How about you reel in your fucking Mean Girls Club so that you don't run off your top merchandise seller of 2023? Like, how about you just pay attention to what you have going on and worry about and focus on your product and making your product as good as it can be? I don't know if Tony Khan is so fucking delusional that he still believes that he is running neck and neck with WWE, but I have to say, there was a time, maybe about a year and a half ago, that I think when Triple H and Vince McMahon were making decisions, they were definitely looking over their shoulder. What's AEW going to do? How are they going to respond to this? I think by zero means at this point in time does Triple H even recognize that AEW exists. I think he looks at them as a sub company that he can pluck talent from at any point that he wants. And that's how he sees. He does not see them as competition anymore. And I think that kills Tony Khan inside. Tony Khan came out and said, I'll compete till the day I die. You're not competing anymore. And until those things can change, until the IWC stops worshiping Kenny Omega, until Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks stop running the company, until you quit telling me that Jon Moxley and Darby Allin are the greatest wrestlers in the world, I can't foresee a world where I can watch AEW on a consistent basis. Yeah. All right, Lauren, let's end the show talking about a friend of the show, Corey, every year has a Royal Rumble contest. Okay? And I filled out my brackets this year.
Yes, sir.
And I want to run them by you because we're going to submit a joint bracket this year. Or joint, it's not a bracket. I don't know what, this is a form. It's an Excel sheet, okay? And Corey puts a lot of work into this, and he gives us this really well put together contest where he calculates all the winners. And I think I've won it one year. I believe I've won it one year. I'm going to say I've won it one year. And I may not have won it one year. I thought I won it the first year. But so let's start. He gives us a men's and women's side. And we're going to start on the men's side here, and I want to run by you my thoughts. So we have winner of the Royal Rumble. We get to pick 3 names.
Okay.
Now, you tell me if you want me to change one of these, but I think I'm pretty spot on here.
All right.
So for 1 point, long shot, I said The Rock.
Okay.
I think there's a wild hair that The Rock could show up and fucking spoil everything and win the Royal Rumble. I don't think it's happening, but it's a possibility.
Yeah.
For 3 points, I put CM Punk.
Okay.
There's an outside shot to me that CM Punk is the guy that they want winning the Royal Rumble. But the guy I believe who's winning the Royal Rumble, we talked about it just a couple minutes ago, 5 points, Cody Rhodes.
I agree.
I think Cody's winning it again. I think it's set up for that. So the final four of the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
We got to pick 4 names here.
Okay.
I went CM Punk.
Okay.
Okay. Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
He's got to be there if we think he's winning. Seth Rollins, because I think CM Punk and Seth Rollins eliminate each other at the end.
Okay.
And Drew McIntyre.
It's a pretty solid pick.
I think that when you get those 4 in the ring, it's going to be like, oh shit, any one of these 4 could win.
True. And it would be great no matter what.
Yeah. All right. Surprise entrance into the Royal Rumble.
All right.
The Rock.
Okay.
That's a long shot.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
There's always a chance Brock's coming back.
Yeah.
Right? And if they're trying to set up something with Gunther possibly, the Rumble's a place to do it. He always gets the big pop. Carmelo Hayes. I think that's a safe bet.
All right.
He's been showing up on SmackDown.
So kind of introduce him and stuff. Okay.
I think they just want to get him screen time in front of WWE fans. I have Braun Breaker.
All right.
I think that's a safe bet. And Andrade. That's my long shot.
Oh, yeah. I
Andrade.
forgot about that. That's cool.
You think you good with those names?
Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny. Ooh.
That was on my list. I just figured like they like to involve him in things.
No, and he loves it.
And he's with Kylie Jenner. Or no, it's not. He's with Kendall Jenner right now.
I'm not gonna put it on the list, but I like it.
Okay.
We'll make note of it. Winning brand. I think it's Monday Night Raw. I think there's no question.
Yeah.
Everybody I have in the last 4 is Monday Night Raw. And here's the interesting thing. With the WWE Championship match now containing 4 people, I think that was by design to get them out of the Royal Rumble. There'll be more than likely no Randy Orton, no LA Knight, no AJ Styles, and no Roman Reigns in the Royal Rumble. So those guys you don't have to contend with. Those were the guys who had the opportunity to win. I think the Royal Rumble is up for grabs on Monday Night Raw. Mm-hmm. Will a female get physically involved? I said yes.
Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
For Judgment Day.
Yes. I think she will at some point in time.
Initially, I said no, but I mean, I agree.
She'll either be in the Royal Rumble or she will help Dominic Mysterio out.
Yeah.
Will any member of a faction eliminate a member of the same faction?
Yes. I think JD's going to eliminate somebody from... Is he technically part of the Judgment Day?
Yes. So, but I have it a little... You're close on what I... And I think I'm cheating, and I even wrote it in here, and we'll see if Corey gives me the points.
Okay.
R-Truth will eliminate somebody from the Judgment Day.
Yes, definitely. That's a good one.
And so we'll see if on a technicality he allows me to have R-Truth as part of the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Most eliminations, Drew McIntyre.
True.
I think that's a pretty safe bet there. Longest entry in the Royal Rumble this year. Jey Uso.
Okay.
They need something for Jey. He's not going to win it. I don't think he's going to be in the last 4, but I think he starts early and makes it.
They can be like, he almost did it.
Yeah. I think he's going to be the Iron Man of this is kind of his coming out party. I think the winning number is going to be number 5. I have no reason for that.
Okay.
That's like just throwing something at a wall.
Sounds like fun.
Okay, then we go entrance, right? Number 1, I have R-Truth.
Okay.
2, I have Jey Uso because I think he's going to be in the longest, so I'd say 2. R-Truth and Jey Uso at the beginning could work. Cody Rhodes, number 5, winning the Royal Rumble.
All right.
Solo Sikoa, 10.
Okay.
Finn Balor, 15. Akira Tozawa, 20. Dirty Dom, 25.
Yeah.
And Seth Rollins, number 30.
All right.
I
think those are all solid picks. I mean, you don't really know. So
yeah, those are, to me are just, I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
And the tiebreaker is how long will the winner be in the match? I said 56 minutes. I don't know why. So let's go women's side.
Okay.
All right. Let's start from the bottom up here. 1 point, third choice to win the Royal Rumble, Nia Jax.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Okay.
You good with that?
Yeah.
Second choice, 3 points, Bayley.
I'd like to see Bayley win.
Well, there's a possibility that I think they could try to go Io Sky and Bayley at WrestleMania.
Ooh, that would be good.
Yeah, it works. I haven't seen them plant enough seeds, but I think it would be interesting if Bayley had to choose who she was going to go against on SmackDown and all of Damage Control standing around her. But number 1, 5 points, I have Becky Lynch. I feel like having Nia Jax beat Becky Lynch this last 2 weeks ago on Raw was one of those things to get our mind off of Becky Lynch. They put Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax in the ring together to keep our mind off of Becky Lynch. But I think ultimately they want to go Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. I think that's the match they want to make. So that's where I'm going.
Okay.
I'm going Becky Lynch.
Okay, I'm going to go with you.
Final 4, Bianca Belair, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, and Bayley.
Pretty solid.
It's kind of the same way I feel about the men.
Yeah.
Bianca Belair and Bayley cancel each other out because I still believe it's going to be Bianca Belair versus Io Sky at WrestleMania if Io doesn't drop at Elimination Chamber. Yeah, Nia Jax and Becky Lynch will be Becky overcoming the insurmountable odds and eliminating Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Surprise entrance, AJ Lee.
Oh,
I know they're trying to say she's not training for a comeback, but if you were going to come back, the Royal Rumble is where you do it because you only have to do a couple of minutes.
True.
You don't. She doesn't have to come back full time. Second one, Naomi.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think Naomi comes back. Third, Liv Morgan.
Okay.
I think it's time. I think we're on the time frame where she would be ready to get back in the ring.
Okay.
4, Tiffany Stratton.
That would be a good one.
She just kind of has that like athletic appeal that I think she could come out, do something big.
Yeah.
And then everybody go, oh shit, who is she? And kind of introduce her.
Boys will think she's pretty.
Last
Girls
but
will
not
think she's
least,
pretty.
Jade Cargill.
Oh, I think it's a no-brainer.
Right? That's where you introduce Jade Cargill. Yeah. Even if she's going to be in NXT, that's where you bring her. So winning brand, I have SmackDown. Even though I think this is me hedging my bet here. Because I have Raw winning. I have Becky Lynch winning, but I want the points from SmackDown just to hedge my bet there.
Yeah.
Will a man get involved in the match?
I think it would be Dominic Mysterio if it was.
I said no. I don't foresee Dominic because Rhea's not going to be in the Royal Rumble.
I guess she always saves him.
But she's not going to be in the Royal Rumble. So I don't. I said no. Will any member of a faction eliminate a member of the same faction?
Damage control.
I said
I think it's where I think
no.
I can see it.
I don't think it's going to be damage control. If it happens, I think it's going to be Chelsea Green eliminating Doudrop. Piper Niven.
True.
But I'm going to say no. I'm going to play it safe, say no.
Yeah.
Most eliminations, Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Longest entrant, Bianca Belair.
Because she can
they always want to give Bianca Belair something that she can leave the match with and go, may not have won, but I was in there for an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
Winning number, fuck it, we're going to stay with 5.
Okay.
5's going to win one of these matches.
5 is great.
Entrant number 1, Chelsea Green. I think she can complain about it.
Yeah.
Number 2, Mia Yim.
Okay.
5, Bailey. That's why. That needs to be Becky Lynch.
Becky Lynch.
5 should be Becky Lynch. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can change it. I already sent it. 10, Naomi. 15, Asuka. 20, Maxine Dupree. 25, Shotzi. 30, Bailey again. That was supposed to be Becky Lynch at 5.
All right.
And then tiebreaker, I think the winner will be in for 46 minutes.
Okay.
You comfortable with that?
I think it's
you comfortable
solid.
with us submitting that as our Royal Rumble predictions?
Yes, sir.
Next week I'll do an official prediction show with you. You don't have to come to the show next week. I'm going to be doing a show with Mike.
Okay, cool.
So we're going to do our official prediction show next week for the Royal Rumble. But that is all we got this week. Make sure to like and subscribe if you don't already. Please share this video wherever you think casual wrestling fans are. If you want to contribute to the Casual Wrestling Creator Fund, the link is in the description of this video. As always, I am the Notorious Nerdy D. That is Level Up Lauren. This has been another episode of the Casual Wrestling Show. Lauren, ring the final bell.
Wait.
Whoa.
Don't forget to look out for my new hoodie coming out.
You're hyped up about
cool.
this, right?
I love it.
New merch in the store.
I can't wait to get it.
Next week, there will be a hoodie of Crakey Man, your brother. There'll be a Level Up Lauren hoodie.
Yes.
And there will be a Low T hoodie.
But I created a contest where we need to make sure I sell the most hoodies.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
All right.
All right. So now, Lauren, now that you've promoted your own merch, ring the final bell.
Ba-ding.